They made me drop out of college so my brother could go instead. And now I fund his entire career. Sounds like a twisted punchline, right? Except it's not a joke. It's my life. I'm Nancy. I'm 32 now, living alone in a modest 2-bedroom apartment in Austin. I work in tech, product strategy to be specific. Pays well enough that I don't worry about rent, but not so much that I feel wealthy. Just safe. Which, for someone who once had her future pulled out from under her feet, feels like a small miracle. Growing up, I was the responsible one. The straight-A student. The girl who helped mom with the dishes and dad with the taxes. My younger brother, Ryan, was the dreamer. The golden boy. If I was the foundation, he was the firework. Everyone loved Ryan's charm, his wit, the way he could talk himself out of detention and into scholarships. But when it came time for college, things took a turn. I had already started my second year, working part-time at a bookstore and living off campus to save money. My parents were supporting both of us a bit, but funds were tight. One evening, Dad sat me down in the kitchen, his eyes heavy, and said, "We need to talk about your tuition." I remember that moment vividly. The air smelled like burnt toast. The overhead light buzzed faintly. He didn't sugarcoat it. Ryan had been accepted to a private university, a big deal. But the cost was high, and there wasn't enough money for both of us. So they wanted me to take a break. "Just a year," Mom added. "Until things even out." I was stunned. Hurt didn't begin to describe it. I had worked so hard, gotten so far, and now I was expected to just stop? Because Ryan had dreams? Because he needed it more? I didn't fight. I cried that night, quietly. In the same room, I packed my books into boxes. No one stopped me. That year never ended. 1 year turned into 2. Then forever. Ryan thrived. He graduated, got a cushy job thanks to Dad's connections, and started a career in marketing. I drifted from job to job, waitressing, temping, until I taught myself to code through free online courses. Took me 5 years to claw my way into tech. My parents never acknowledged what they did as wrong. To them, it was practical. Necessary. Ryan needed a leg up. And I was always the strong one. "You're so resilient, Nancy," Mom said once, as if resilience was something I chose, not something I was forced to develop. But the real punch came last Christmas. We were all home, gathered around the fireplace. Ryan was lamenting the cost of grad school. Business school this time. Everyone nodded solemnly. So hard to get ahead these days. And then Mom turned to me and said, "Maybe you could help. You're doing well now, right?" The room was silent. My jaw clenched. "Help? After everything?" She said it like it was the most natural thing in the world. I didn't say no. I didn't say yes. I just smiled politely and told her I'd think about it. But inside me something cracked. It wasn't anger. Not exactly. It was colder than that. A deep, hollow understanding that I would never be seen as anything other than the one who gives up so others can win. But I had learned something in the past decade. I knew how to play the long game. And Ryan, he was about to find out what that meant. I didn't explode. That would have been easy. A screaming match. A dramatic exit. But instead, I left quietly the next morning. I didn't hug anyone goodbye. Just packed up my things and drove 8 hours back to Austin without a word. For weeks, I was haunted by the weight of it all. Not just that moment around the fireplace, but everything that had led to it. Every time I'd swallowed my disappointment. Every birthday I'd watched Ryan get more than me. Every holiday where I was expected to clean up while he got to rest because he was working so hard. But the worst part? I realized I had believed them. Somewhere deep down I had internalized their story, that I was built to carry the load, that my needs were always secondary. It broke something inside me. I stopped answering their calls. I stopped replying to family group chats. And it wasn't to punish them. It was to preserve myself. Because every conversation felt like a reminder that I didn't matter as much. And still life went on. Ryan emailed me a few weeks later, casually mentioning his grad school tuition. "I know Mom asked already, but just wanted to follow up," he wrote. "Even a small amount would help." I stared at that message for so long I could see it even after I closed my laptop. I didn't reply. I didn't need to, because that email wasn't a request. It was an expectation, a reflex. I thought I'd hit my limit. But life had a little more sting left. A month later, I got a call from my mom. I almost didn't answer, but I did. Her voice was rushed. Panicked. Ryan had lost his job. He was struggling to pay rent. He was depressed. Could I check on him? Maybe even let him stay with me for a while since I had the space? I remember sitting there in my office, holding the phone in my hand, stunned by how fast concern had shifted back into obligation. And yet, I said yes. I don't know why. Maybe I still wanted to be the good daughter. Maybe I was scared that saying no would finally sever whatever thread was left. Maybe I just didn't know how to stop. Ryan moved in 2 days later.
No epalegi.
No thanks. Just plopped his bags down and asked if I had oat milk. That night, as I lay awake in bed listening to him watching Netflix in the next room, something inside me whispered, "This is it. No more." I didn't sleep. I just stared at the ceiling and made a decision. Quiet. Final. If no one else was going to protect my future, I would do it myself. I started waking up earlier. Not for Ryan but for myself. I'd brew coffee, sit on the balcony with a notebook, and write down goals, small, personal, selfish goals. Things like, save for a solo trip. Apply for that leadership program. Buy better sheets. I stopped waiting for validation. I stopped hoping someone would notice I was tired or hurting. Instead, I began to pour everything into myself. I enrolled in an executive certification course. Nothing fancy, but enough to sharpen my skills and set myself up for a promotion. Nights were for study. Mornings were for clarity. I didn't tell anyone. Not my parents. Not even Ryan, who slept 10 feet away. Over time, something incredible happened. I started to breathe differently. Like my lungs had more room. Like I wasn't clenching through life anymore. There was a lightness to building something for myself, even if no one applauded. My manager noticed. She offered me a stretch project with high visibility. I nailed it. That led to more responsibility, and before I knew it, I was being considered for a senior role, one with equity, bonuses, and real influence. And all this time, Ryan stayed in my guest room, eating my groceries, using my Netflix account, dropping hints about tuition deadlines like I was a donor, not a sister. One day, he left his laptop open on the kitchen table. I glanced at the screen. He was filling out a form for a business school scholarship. In the section labeled Sponsor or Financial Support, he wrote, "Sister, Nancy. Will cover full tuition if not awarded aid." No discussion. No question. Just assumption. That night, I didn't confront him. I didn't lash out. I simply forwarded his application email to myself and saved a copy. Because a shift was coming. Because I was no longer living in the shadows of someone else's comfort. Because I was about to make a move that would remind everyone exactly who they had underestimated. And for once, I didn't feel guilty about it. Not even a little. The opportunity came wrapped in silverware. A family dinner. My parents were in town for a fundraiser, and they invited Ryan and me to join them at an upscale restaurant. The kind of place with linen napkins and tiny forks you don't know what to do with. I agreed, knowing exactly what I was walking into. They were all smiles. Hugs. My mother complimented my dress, my father praised the wine list. Ryan looked confident. Too confident. Like a man who had no idea what was about to hit him. Midway through the meal, as we finished our entrees, my father raised his glass. "To family," he said. "And to Ryan's bright future at Stanford." Stanford? He smiled at me. "We got the letter. He's in. He's deferred till fall, but it's happening." All eyes turned to me like it was my turn to cheer. Or fund. Or both. I sipped my wine. "That's great," I said calmly. "But I won't be paying for it." Silence. You could hear the fork hit the plate. My mom blinked. "What do you mean?" I set my napkin down. "I mean, I won't be paying for his school. Not $1. Not again." Ryan looked baffled. "But you said." "No, I didn't. I never said yes. You assumed." My father's face turned red. "Nancy, this isn't the place." "It's the perfect place," I said. "Because this is exactly how it's always been. Quiet deals. Unspoken expectations. Me stepping down so Ryan can step up. I'm done." My voice wasn't loud. Didn't need to be. It carried. "I've been building my life back piece by piece for years while all of you assumed I'd just keep giving. I won't. Not anymore." They were stunned. No one said a word. The waiter approached, then backed away slowly. I stood up, grabbed my coat, and paused just long enough to leave them with one final sentence. Next time you toast to family, make sure you know who's actually holding it together. Then I walked out, head high, shoulders back, free. That dinner was 6 months ago. Since then, I've gotten the promotion. I lead a small but mighty team now. I work less on proving myself and more on guiding others to see their worth, especially the ones who've been told they should stay quiet. Ryan moved out a week after the dinner. He didn't say goodbye. He didn't thank me for housing him. And honestly, that was a gift. No more explanations. No more guilt. Just silence. My parents tried to reach out. First it was emails. Then birthday cards. Then a message from my dad that simply said, "We miss you." I haven't replied. I'm not angry. I'm just done negotiating my value. I still live in that modest apartment, but now it feels like mine. Not a stopgap, not a hand-me-down life, but a space I chose. I buy myself flowers every Sunday. I've started learning the guitar. I take myself out to brunch and tip extra. Some days the past sneaks in. A memory, a moment. And I let it. I don't fight it. Because it shaped me. But it doesn't own me. And maybe that's the biggest win. You don't always need revenge. Sometimes healing is the rebellion. If you're watching this and thinking about the sacrifices you made for people who never looked back, this is for you. You don't have to stay quiet. You don't have to keep bleeding for others to thrive. You can choose yourself. Even now. Especially now. And when you do, don't apologize for it. Because survival isn't selfish. It's sacred. And you deserve peace too.